Today on Investigate TV, at the height of the COVID pandemic, millions of people were jobless and billions of dollars meant to help them was lost to potential fraud.
The most embarrassing thing is to have to tell your kid, I don't know what we're going to eat.
For the victims who were denied benefits, these cyber criminals got the money first.
Plus, fake online reviews target local businesses and deceive customers. Now one retail giant is fighting back.
They're not suing the sellers of the products who are paying for the reviews, and they're not suing the people who are actually posting the fake reviews. They're suing the moderators of the Facebook forums that connect those two together.
Investigate TV starts right now. Hello and welcome to Investigate TV. I'm Lee Zurich. Unemployment assistance offers Americans a lifeline after losing a job. When the pandemic hit, the system was pushed to the brink. Over 2 years, about $900 billion was paid out in emergency funds. But not everyone who received aid deserved it. Caresse Jackman tells us where the money went and what's being done to protect future tax dollars.
Why do you think we were not prepared for this?
Well, I think nobody could have predicted the spike in claims that we saw during the pandemic.
Millions of Americans out of work.
We've already lost our apartment.
There's nobody to talk to. It's impossible.
The federal government handing out hundreds of billions in unemployment aid.
Probably the biggest thing I've had to deal with life as so far.
But with that assistance came significant fraud.
We have a new normal when it comes to unemployment identity theft.
Money meant to help those in need.
The most embarrassing thing is to have to tell your kid, I don't know what we're going to eat.
Money stolen during an international crisis, leaving desperate families with nowhere to turn.
For the victims who were denied benefits, these cyber criminals got the money first. And our research shows, as the chair noted, 40% were unable to pay their bills, 14% were evicted, 33% could not pay for food.
The Department of Labor's own Inspector General said it was a combination of federal and state mismanagement combined with an array of scammer tactics that led to billions in lost taxpayer dollars. But where was the breakdown that allowed this fraud to happen? Flashback to the spring of 2020. The federal government, as part of the CARES Act, dedicated more than $872 billion through the Pandemic Unemployment Insurance Program. The Department of Labor's own Inspector General said from March 2020 through April 2022, more than $45 billion was paid out in potentially fraudulent claims. All of this fraud quickly came on the radar of the Identity Theft Resource Center.
In early April of 2020, the ITRC started receiving more and more calls on this issue, and so we realized that this was an emerging trend.
Eva Velasquez is president and CEO of the ITRC, a nonprofit organization that strives to reduce and mitigate the impact of identity theft.
We were pushing these programs with the enhanced benefits out very quickly, and the mandate really was to get this money in the pockets of people who needed it.
The tactics used by fraudsters range from people filing for benefits in multiple states to using the names of the deceased to suspicious email accounts attached to claims. In one case, 11 members and associates of a gang were charged in a multi-million-dollar unemployment insurance fraud scheme. According to the Inspector General, the bad actors allegedly used personal information of more than 800 victims to submit nearly 1,000 claims for unemployment insurance benefits.
We've seen this all throughout the pandemic. People were going out using stolen identities to get benefits.
LexisNexis Solutions CEO Haywood Talcove has worked with organizations like the ITRC and Georgia State University to monitor and examine how scammer scheme state and federal unemployment programs.
To receive your card in about 3 to 5 business days.
Talcove says one popular method involved creating fake driver's licenses and deepfakes on the dark web.
They're getting manufactured to bypass the system so that they can easily steal money. from unemployment insurance agencies.
In their semi-annual report to Congress, the Department of Labor's Inspector General said it was a combination of factors that led to such rampant fraud. The unprecedented infusion of federal funds into the unemployment program, combined with stolen personal information, plus the program's weaknesses over the last several years. Now, the Inspector General's report looked at fraud losses throughout the entire system, but we wanted to break it down statewide and look at what states found when it comes to potential losses due to fraud. Millions of dollars lost for families in dire need of help. So we reach out to more than 24 states to find out how much money they lost due to fraud and identity theft over the last 2 years. We heard back from about a dozen. All of them lost over $1 million, some much more than that. For instance, in Pennsylvania, state officials say they found an estimated $6 billion in fraud across all unemployment compensation programs. And according to the California State Auditor's Office, their Employment Development Department did not take action to bolster its fraud detection efforts until months into the pandemic. As a result, its data shows they paid about $10.4 billion in potential fraudulent claims, which circles back to the question we first asked. But why do you think we were not prepared for this?
Well, I think nobody could have predicted the spike in claims that we saw during the pandemic. Nobody expected a pandemic, frankly, of this magnitude.
Michelle Evermore is the Department of Labor's Deputy Director for Policy at the Office of Unemployment Insurance Modernization. Her department is now targeting changes at the federal and state level following a scathing review from their own Inspector General. According to the IG's report, the Department of Labor's lack of sufficient action significantly increases the risk of even more payments to ineligible claimants, adding that immediate action is needed. What is being done right now to ensure that we can tackle the next wave or the next emergency?
We have these tiger teams that are composed of fraud experts, equity experts, and they really examine all of the bottlenecks in the system and try to figure out, okay, what can we do to promote timely payment while also doing the kind of work that we need to do to ensure that no funds go to fraudsters?
As for the exact amount of money lost to fraud, Evermore says we may never know.
This is a whole of government, whole of society problem. A lot of these scammers are international crime rings. So we have to work in concert with the Department of Justice and, other federal agencies to make sure that we're actually tracking this for everyone.
Experts say tracking and fighting fraud has always been challenging, but they say those challenges must be addressed and taxpayer dollars must be protected before the next emergency strikes and Americans turn to federal programs for help. For months, we've asked the White House for an interview with Gene Sperling, the man in charge of tackling unemployment fraud for the Biden administration. We have yet to hear back on that request.
Thanks, Caresse. Want to take a deeper dive into some of our investigations? Read more of our team's work at InvestigateTV.com. Coming up, online reviews. Experts say you can't trust them all, and fake ones aren't just illegal. They're hurting reputations and costing you money. That story after the break. Welcome back to Investigate TV. Fake online reviews bought and sold across the internet. Experts estimate the cost of the deception for businesses and consumers is more than $150 billion a year. It's not a new phenomenon, but Amazon has had enough. It's now suing thousands of social media moderators. Rachel DePompa has more.
Amazon Product Review. This was a Facebook group with 43,000 members, openly asking for reviews on products like car stereos and camera tripods. The members offering a refund after review.
The problem is that's illegal. You can't solicit reviews for payment. It also violates Facebook's own terms of service. Now, the company ultimately pulled this group, and now its administrators, moderators, and creators are named in this lawsuit from Amazon.
The e-commerce giant is suing that group along with leaders of more than 11,000 moderated review groups, including 2 we pointed out to Facebook during the course of our ongoing investigation into fake online reviews, like this one, where members were openly asking how much for 50 reviews. Amazon alleges the Facebook group leaders created pages that organized fake reviews for money or free products. In the lawsuit, Amazon says incentivized reviews targeted the company's sites in the United States and around the world, misleading consumers. It's suing in order to learn the identities of the group's administrators and shut them down.
What stands out to me is actually the difficulty of Amazon's case. Let's jump right into sources of authority in contract law.
Jim Gibson is an intellectual property lawyer and professor at the University of Richmond. We asked him to review the 317-page lawsuit.
They're not suing the sellers of the products who are paying for the reviews, and they're not suing the people who are actually posting the fake reviews. They're suing the moderators of the Facebook forums that connect those two together.
Gibson's writing a book about company reputations, including how fake reviews play a role.
Is this the type of lawsuit that puts pressure on Facebook or not really?
That might be the real end game. This actually has a lot of the earmarks of a sort of public relations campaign more than a lawsuit that they think is actually going to stop the problem or put money in Amazon's pocket.
Positive reviews can encourage you to buy a product. Amazon uses a 5-star rating system, and fake reviews can inflate or deflate that number. The lawsuit also points out how fake review groups try to make it hard for Facebook to detect them. Typing "refund after review," leaving out letters, or purposefully misspelling words. We reached out to the administrator of a fake review group that Facebook eventually shut down. His profile says he's based in Pakistan. We pointed out people were buying, selling, and trading reviews on his Facebook group. The person who responded told us, "I'm reviews provider for any sites. Do you need reviews? I only have sticky reviews, always with 100% guarantee."
I think this lawsuit is probably more Amazon trying to put pressure on Facebook to be better. They don't want to sue Facebook because once you sue Facebook, you're in a completely adversarial situation.
We reached out to Facebook to ask about the lawsuit. So far, we haven't heard back.
Do you recommend reading the reviews?
I don't. I really don't.
Gibson says if you do read the reviews, look at the ones in the middle of the ratings, the 2 through 4 stars. Be skeptical of the 1 and 5-star reviews. And he says, use trusted, vetted third-party reviewers.
And honestly, if there's 2 products and you can't decide between them and you're shopping on Amazon, if you can afford to pay the higher price, that's actually been statistically shown to produce the higher quality result, more so than relying on the ratings.
The lawsuit was filed in King County Superior Court in Seattle, Washington. The trial date is set for later in 2023.
Thanks, Rachel. Up next, fake reviews and online attacks slamming companies, hurting their credibility.
This is organized. This does not happen organically.
Again, I know the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into building a small business, so something like this can be really harmful.
We speak to an expert and a victim after the break. Welcome back to Investigate TV. Across the country, companies buy 5-star reviews to boost sales. But it goes the other way too. Fake negative reviews are damaging reputations and tearing businesses down. Rachel DePompa explains.
In Gig Harbor, Washington, just outside Seattle, Nicole Burnett oversees a small real estate team. Always on the go, she's been helping people buy and sell homes in her hometown for 10 years now. Google her business, and her online reviews are filled with comments from those she's helped.
We've been really blessed. We have amazing clients, and we've had all 5-star ratings.
That is, until she logged onto her computer one morning and found this 1-star Google review. It simply said, "Bad service."
The account was suspect. Like, it may not have been a real account. But I just kind of blew it. I was like, well, that's a weird thing. Like, in the Googleverse, who knows what goes on. We'll reply and we'll move on. And then maybe a couple weeks later is when this started to kind of spiral.
It wasn't just one more bad review, it was several, like this one. "If you need help buying a house, pick someone else." Or, "Did not like the poor attitude displayed." And this one, How many times must I request that this company stops calling me? I do not want to sell my home.
How worried are you getting? Because, I mean, it is a public place that people can see this.
We hadn't contacted these people. They aren't in our database. You know, we've had no interaction with them, at least that I can find. Then I'm starting to panic a little bit because we don't know where they're coming from. We don't know why.
Baffled and not sure what to do next, Burnett soon found out someone else was watching.
I saw that Burnett Real Estate in the Seattle area was getting hit with recent negative Google reviews from profiles I had already identified as part of fake review networks.
Kay Dean is a former federal fraud investigator.
I'm here to tell you the online review world is the Wild West, and there is no sheriff.
She now runs Fake Review Watch, a website and YouTube channel dedicated to exposing fake online reviews. We've interviewed Kay for our ongoing national investigation. She's uncovered numerous Facebook groups where people are openly buying, selling, and trading fake reviews for services and products you use on popular sites like Amazon, Google, Yelp, and TripAdvisor. Kay Dean noticed one of the negative one-star reviews for Burnett's business was from a Google profile named Isabella. Isabella writing, "I have mixed feelings. Initially, they were nice. Then they didn't return my calls."
And that profile had actually left a negative review for a Texas dentist.
And a 5-star review for a nursing home in California, a home warranty company in Brooklyn, New York, an e-commerce store in Qatar.
This is organized. This does not happen organically.
She's warned several small businesses across the country about fake negative and positive reviews. The Federal Trade Commission is also watching closely. It recently joined 6 states to sue a rental listing platform, accusing it of paying for fake reviews. When we spoke with Rich Cleland of the FTC about the impact of fake reviews, he said the plight of small businesses were already on the government's radar.
Honest businesses, particularly local businesses, lose out to fake reviews.
In a 2022 study presented to the National Bureau of Economic Research, data shows that increasing a star rating by 1 star increased demand for a low-quality product by 38%. Researchers estimate phony reviews drive up the price 12 cents for every dollar consumers spend.
To have someone come in and in a matter of a week, take you from full 5-star to a 4.3, that can make a big difference when someone's trying to decide what small business to patronize.
Nicole Burnett fought back, contacting Google. Her company got the tech giant to pull the 1-star reviews, but Google did not remove the profiles of the people who wrote them, like Isabella.
Her review patterns were clearly suspicious. Why that profile is still active is beyond me.
We asked Google why it removed the reviews but not the people writing them. The company told us users who repeatedly violate our policies may be prevented from making further contributions to Google Maps. Isabella's profile is still up, but there's no way for us to see if she's still posting reviews. We also wanted to reach out to her, but there's no way to contact reviewers through their profile. Experts suggest small business owners check their reviews frequently and report any suspicious activity to the platform they are using. Also, word of mouth is still the gold standard.
Again, I know the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into building a small business, so something like this can be really harmful.
For Investigate TV, I'm Rachel DePompa.
To keep up with our latest investigations, follow us on social media. We're at Investigate TV on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Coming up, phone numbers, social security numbers, applying to jobs can mean sharing critical data. But you may be opening yourself up to scams. Hear how after the break. Welcome back to Investigate TV. The U.S. added more than 4 million jobs in 2022. That's according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That's a lot of people applying for jobs divulging personal information. And scammers are taking notice. The Better Business Bureau estimates 14 million people are exposed to employment scams every year. Caresse Jackman has tips on how to protect yourself in this Watching Your Wallet.
Looking for a new job can be stressful and time-consuming, but when you add in the fact that scammers are scanning the same sites as you and looking for new targets, experts say job seekers are at risk of becoming fraud victims.
Folks are really, thinking about their employment status in ways that they never have before. And because of that, there are opportunities to have the blinders on to a fault.
The Federal Trade Commission has reported more than $250 million in losses tied to business and job opportunity scams, with the typical victim losing around $2,000. Josh Plinos with the Better Business Bureau says job scams increased during the pandemic.
Employment scams and phishing are north of 10% of the scam reports that we have tracked. These are really concerning trends because these are particularly devastating scam types.
The BBB released this detailed scam study in 2020, showing how con artists oftentimes post on legitimate sites and pose as employers using multiple methods to trick applicants. In the report, victims claimed the fake employers set up virtual interviews via video conference, but never showed the victims their face during those bogus interviews. The applicants said they got a series of personal questions and ended up divulging critical personal information, some even turning over bank account numbers to supposedly set up direct deposit at their new jobs. We asked several job search engine sites if they've noticed an uptick in scam reports and what they're doing to protect job seekers. 3 of them got back to us. Indeed told us they've removed tens of millions of job listings each month that do not meet their quality guidelines. ZipRecruiter told us they use proprietary detection software and they have a stringent client onboarding process to vet potential posers and deny access for those who fail to pass their screening process, while LinkedIn says they've rolled out new features to keep inauthentic activity off of their site. Experts say beware of vague job descriptions. Always report any suspicious posts from someone claiming to be an employer. And remember, if you're paying for the promise of a job, it's most likely a scam.
If you have some concerns just by reading the job posting, that should be a sign, right? And typically, your gut is going to lead you in the right path in terms of, getting your questions answered. So if you have a question, speak up.
With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Caresse Jackman.
If you're looking for more investigative reporting on demand, download our streaming apps on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. And that's it for us. Thanks for joining us here on Investigate TV. Hope to see you next week.